All right. Hello, everyone. Um, so I've decided to make this video and to share my journey with everyone. Well, at least, my friends and any other women out there who are in the same situation as I'm in. So, about a couple of months ago, I decided to actually go through the process of getting my eggs frozen. Yes. So, just a little background. I'm 38, soon to be 39. No husband. There's no kids. No prospects soon either. I also do have a condition that is known to be one of the leading causes for infertility, endometriosis. So, when I was first diagnosed, my gynecologist was strongly encouraging me to have children before I was 30. But at the same time, it's like, do you want to have children for the sake of having children, or do you want to wait until you're actually in a position to be ready to have children? So that's really where I wanted to be. But, not thinking that one day I'll be 38 and be in a position where I feel financially, I can, I'm in a place whereby I can take care of kids and the family, but you know, um, relationship wise, there's just nothing, So in order to actually protect myself and protect my future, so that I'm actually able to have the option of having children later. Um, I decided to go ahead and have my eggs frozen. Now, um, I shared this news with my family. I have a brother, sister, and a mom. So I shared the news with them. And FYI, I'm Kenyan by birth. And so in our culture, really, you don't really hear about, going through this process. So when I shared it with my mom was just like, she was in shock, really. And, and I was asking, like, what's the problem? Like, what's wrong? She's like, you know what? This is just something that we don't hear about, for us, So in talking with a friend of mine who's actually a journalist, and I have done some work with her before, but she's published a couple of, my essays. I told her what I was about to go through, and I was like, do you know what? Do you think that there'll be people, especially, African women, Kenyan women, who would be interested in hearing about my journey? And, she thought, you know what, it's a good idea. So I figured, hey, let me document the process. So here we are. So, so today's what, August 1st. So, early July, I'd actually had my usual annual gynecological checkup. And, my doctor actually brought it up again because the year before I'd asked her, I told her, you know what, let me check my fertility, and just see, are my eggs good? Do I have fertility issues? Just so that, I have a little comfort. And she actually had, referred me to a specialist, because I did talk about maybe freezing my eggs. So this year she brought it up again. Excuse me. She brought it up again, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll go ahead and meet the specialist. And so so the specialist I went to see was highly recommended, Dr. Thompson. And I met with her mid-July, actually. So we sat down and we talked about the whole process. I have to be honest, for the last year, I was really hesitant about it because of the costs. I had been hearing, it costs, about $15,000 to freeze your eggs. And depending on the insurance you have, it may be out of pocket for you. So I totally understand why this is a privilege for many, because not many people can afford, $15,000 out of pocket. And to be honest with you, I can't. So, the past month I've been really, racking my brain and hustling and trying to figure out how I'm going to come up with $15,000. So let me break it down for you. Um, First, the process. So I met with her the first time, and so she told me about the process, and how long it would take. And the good thing is that where I went, you meet with a doctor for consultation. She tells you what the process is generally like. and and also how long it'll take, just really answer any of your questions. And then you go through the second stage, still in the same appointment, which is really about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So, they did a vaginal ultrasound. They measured, my uterus, well, basically the wall, the lining, just to make sure that everything is in range. And because I'm on the pill, and that really helps me with my endometriosis, it was within the range that they were expecting. So that was good. And so they also will require you to have a latest pap smear. And so luckily, I had just had mine done 2 weeks ago, so I was able to send that in. And then after that, you get some blood work drawn. And part of the blood work that they're drawing is, they're also going to do a genetics test, because they want to just, check and just make sure you don't have the genes for certain types, or rather you're not more perceptible to certain types of, deformities or illnesses. So for example, being Black, sickle cell anemia, and I actually do have a first cousin who has sickle cell anemia. So, and I am anemic too, but I'm iron deficient anemia. So that was one thing and also B12. So that's one thing I was really worried about. So, it's a lot of blood work. And for someone like me with very small veins and very deep veins, it takes patience. So there was that. And then they actually have you sit down with a nurse, and the nurse will go through the details a little bit more, in depth. So she told me, she gave me a list of like exactly all the different things that need to happen. And when I tell you it is overwhelming, it is overwhelming. The number of shots you have to take twice a day, the number of visits you have to make, the many times you have to do the blood work. And then, and they broke it down well, where about it. These are the number of visits, and this is how much how much it's going to cost. When it comes time to actually do the process in surgery, this is how much that portion will cost, and whether it's covered, or not. And then they also show you how much the medication will cost, right? And so we went through all that. And the good thing too beforehand is, before my first appointment, they had actually called my insurance company to check whether whether first they would cover any of the process, and also they also check if we've met a deductible. So that was really helpful. And so beforehand, they'll let you know, hey, when you come in, this is how much you're going to owe on your first visit if you haven't met your deductible. Now, unfortunately, my insurance, whom shall remain nameless, doesn't cover much. Consultation, pretty much. So, which is not much. And after meeting my $1,600 deductible, there's a lot that I'll still be going out of pocket for. So, and I tell you guys, I really don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I am telling you, I am just, I am just praying to God, like, God, you'll figure it out for me somehow. Okay, so then after the meeting with the nurse, they actually have a financial consultant assigned to you. And so during that same visit, I spoke with the lady, and so she goes through, your insurance, what they cover, what they don't cover, and like I said, for mine, very little. And so in the end, I am looking at about $10,000 just for one round. So the medication alone is between $3,000 to $5,000. And then you're looking at about maybe $1,600 that you have to pay the hospital for them to actually do the surgery there, and all this other stuff. So it really, really adds up. Now, the one thing my doctor did tell me was that, number one, it is better to have your eggs frozen between 30 and 35 years old. Like that is really like the optimal range. Now, you can obviously do it younger, but let's be honest, a lot of us are not thinking about getting our eggs frozen when we're under 30 or maybe early 30s, because we're thinking, hey, shoot, I'm dating. How hard could it be to meet a guy and get married and have kids? But unfortunately, that's what happens. And a lot of the times, It's not. I mean, think about it. How many times you see on TV commercials about erectile dysfunction? You name it. But how all this different stuff, even you know, all this stuff about your period pains and all of that. But how many commercials have you seen whereby they talk about fertility, especially for women, getting your eggs frozen, even for endometriosis? You don't really hear or even see this commercial. So this is not really something that's in people's minds, right? And furthermore, it's so cost prohibitive that, there are a lot of women who could be in my situation and really do want to have children, but are not in the position to do so now, the man is not there, they're not financially ready or whatever it is, and they feel as if they'll be there a bit later, but they don't want to, miss their chances by, not having good quality eggs when they're older. So, it's sad. I really hope that in the future there'll be a lot more insurance carriers that, who could cover more of this cost. That'll be great. But hey, that's where we are. So 30 to 35 is the age. And then also the optimal amount of eggs that my doctor mentioned that she would like to at least collect is 10. So 10 is a good number. Now remember, there is no guarantee that when it's time to use your eggs, it'll actually result in a pregnancy that you'll be able to carry to full term. But, as the years have gone by and the technology has become a lot better, the quality of the eggs after they're frozen is really good, much better than it was, let's say 10, 20 years ago. So they're able to last much longer. And with time, as technology is getting better too, the chances of, the whole procedure to be successful is even higher. And that is the procedure of actually, fertilizing your eggs, and so forth. So, and this is where it gets to be expensive, because there's no guarantee that, especially when you're older, that in the first try, they'll get 10 eggs. So if in the first try they get all 10 eggs, good for you. You're looking at least under 10,000, close to 10,000, maybe 9, 10, but at least under 10,000. If they can't get all 10 and they have to do another round, guess what? You start from point A all the way to point Z. But depending on the firm you go with, they can make you an offer. So essentially, if I have to go through another round of this, then I am looking at closer to 15,000. So it's not like I'm going to have to pay another 10,000 again. They recognize that I've already gone through one step, and so they do like a graduated, pay system or whatever you call it. So that's how you can get up to 15,000. So God, I am hoping rather that at 38, soon to be 39, my eggs are still gonna, I can just do this in one round. But we shall see. So, so it's been about 2 weeks now since I had my blood work drawn. So what they tell you is, number one, especially if you're on the pill like me, as soon as you now this also depends on when you want to get your eggs drawn. And for me, I've decided on September. Work is gonna be slower, so I'll be able to at least make more of these visits and actually maybe take like the day or two off that I would need to, after the actual procedure. So essentially, what I was told was, on the first day of my period, I'd give them a call because they want you to come in on day 2 or day 3 of your period, so that they can do some blood work and start really monitoring your just your system. And I'll get, I'll get more details because today is day 1 of my period. So tomorrow is day 2, and I actually did call them today, and I am going in tomorrow at 7 a.m. and it's like 9:30 right now, so I really need to get some sleep. But so between 7 and 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going in, so I'll have more details on the next video. So where was I? Yeah. So day one you call them, you go in day 2 or day 3, and you have to stop taking the pill until you've gone through the whole process. Now, this is where it gets scary for me because, like I mentioned, I have endometriosis. And, for those people who don't know what endometriosis is, just like a high, you know, level explanation is your endometrial lining is tends to be, within, your, your lady part area. But when you have endometriosis, sometimes the cells of those linings can be growing outside your endometrial wall. So in my case, it is growing outside my endometrial wall, and actually some cells have also been found by my bowel. So I've had two surgeries, but when the last one being in 2010, but when I finally went on the pill, I've actually been able to not have to have another surgery because I had two surgeries within 2 years. And Lord knows I don't want to get this surgery done again. I mean, it wasn't bad, it's a laparoscopy, but it takes a lot out of you, especially when, when you have a lot. But also, unfortunately, there are some people that can have those endometrial cells in their lungs. Actually, there is a Kenyan lady that I'd been seeing, her story going around quite a bit, that they were actually found in her lungs, and she had been flown to the US to get, the procedure done to like try and take some of the cells out. Now, it's not curable, and the amount of endometriosis that you have does not correlate to the amount of pain you're in. So you could have a lot of pain, but be maybe like in stage one, so it's very mild. Or you could have no pain at all, but you're severe amount of endometriosis. In my case, I was mild, but my pain is more towards the severe. So just remembering the kind of pain that I had, like let me put it this way. Going to pee just to sit on the toilet was literally me negotiating with God on how I will be the best child of God you've ever met. I will give him the next 5 kids, future generations, if I could just pee with no pain. Now, the pain is not because peeing hurts, but the pain is because of the nerves, or the endings that are where the cells are, so that when you're trying to sit down, it's like the pain just radiates from your lower back into your thighs, into your knees. So sometimes I would be like holding on to the walls and putting my leg up so that no part of my bottom would touch anything, and try to pee that way. So if peeing was that hard, you can only imagine how much number two was really hard, right? So, just remembering all these things, and to be honest with you, sometimes it's like I get flashbacks and I'm like, God, am I going to survive the next 2, 3 months without being on the pill? I mean, this week already, yeah, it's not been nice. I mean, it's not bad, but, I guess the fear is also making it a bit worse because I remember how bad it was. So, praying to God, crossing my fingers, everything will be good. So so hope well, not hopefully, but I will document this whole process. Hopefully it's just one round and over the next, let's say, 2 months. So like I say, tomorrow, my first day. So I will be able to find, well, first I have to do blood work. Even more blood work in my case, because a week after I did my first blood work, mid-July, the nurse did call me and tell me my white blood cell levels were a bit low, so they wanted to retake it. So I have to take the CBC again tomorrow. Say there's nothing to be concerned about, but they just want to retake it, so I'm gonna do that. The good thing is that my genetic test came back showing that now the firm will send you the results. But when I tell you that results is like 100 pages long, and I may have tutored statistics in grad school, but this, yeah, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna wait for Dr. Thompson to tell me. But either way, the very top, it said that there was nothing found to be alarmed about. So that's good. Genetically, I don't have to worry about my future kids. Awesome. Or me, that is. So that's good. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll find out. Hopefully, I do get to see the doctor. I think maybe I'm just seeing a nurse, but I guess I'll find out tomorrow. So, hopefully they can explain to me a bit more about the results from that genetic test, a bit more about the results of my blood work, and then they're gonna take more blood, like I said, and they're gonna start monitoring me. I'm not really sure when I do start taking the shots, and these shots apparently are about they're like, and now you self-administer twice a day, and I think they've mentioned it's like for about 10 days until now. Remember, those days you keep going back in to be monitored. So until they feel as if, okay, the conditions are right, they can go in and extract some eggs. Then once that once they're ready to do that, then they give you another type of shot you're supposed to take, and then they do the procedure for you. So I'll get to find out more tomorrow, and I'll definitely share that with you all. So yeah, it's first step, so hopefully things go well. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, you know anything you want me to share with you, just let me know, comments down below. And yeah, I'll be sharing more with you tomorrow. And I'm sorry, guys. It's been a hard week. Lots of really bad news this week. And to be honest with you, I've just really not been in the mood to do this. But considering that here I am, and tomorrow is, another doctor's visit, I figured, you know what, Joyce, before you go to bed, at least do this. So, because I did promise that I will share this with people, and hopefully, you know, there'll be other women who hopefully, will be encouraged to do it if they're able to do it, and also, have at least an example of what it entails and what it could be like for them if they go through it. Right now, I don't know if it'll be good or bad, but I guess we shall see. So, yeah, until tomorrow. Good night, everyone.